Welcome to the Arizona State Board of Pharmacy Complaint Review Committee meeting. My name is Jeff Anderson. I'm president of the board, and we'll go ahead and get started. I call this meeting to order. It is June 9th at 1 p.m. Can we have a member of staff conduct roll call and collect any conflict of interest declarations, please?
Certainly, Mr. Chair. Mr. Anderson.
I am present. I have submitted my conflict on 4AA, which is case 26-0152.
Perfect. Mr. Thorwald.
I'm here and no conflicts.
Mr. Al-Nassif.
I'm here, no conflict for today.
And Ms. Browning.
Present. I submitted conflicts specifically on 4E 26-0103, and that's my employer, so I did recuse.
Perfect. Mr. Anderson, you have a little conflict later on during this meeting. Is that correct still?
I do. If we can take a break, if we're not done by 2:15 and resume at 2:30, that would be great.
All right, let's see what we can do between now and then.
All right, very good. Let's jump in. We'll move to tab 4 on the board book, tab 4A, which is complaint number 26-0109, respondent Safeway number 1887, Daniel Luttrell, Jasmine Marie Unger. The pharmacy filled a prescription with the incorrect directions and quantity. We'll open the floor for discussion.
The way I read it, it's medication. Obviously, there's a wrong direction, and that caused also a delay to fix the issue. And the way I see it, it's like a violation, and will require like CEs.
Yeah, I read it the same way. I had a note that perhaps we could dismiss Safeway and then do non-disciplinary CE to the pharmacist and the tech.
I would concur.
Okay, I could make a motion. Make a motion to dismiss Safeway and then 3 hours of non-disciplinary CE to both the pharmacist and the technician on medication errors. And in addition, I wanted to add to accept what was submitted if it meets the standards according to the board staff.
Second.
All right, thank you, Ms. Browning. Thank you, Mr. Thorwald. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4B. This is complaint number 25-0459, respondent Safeway 1717, George Darush, Eversana Life Sciences Services LLC, Joshua Robert Whiter, and Bradley S. Schammel. The pharmacy shipped medication into Arizona without a shared services agreement. We'll open the floor for discussion.
I would just like to ask Mr. Jacobson if he's online with us about this case.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Al-Nassif. I am here. Is there any questions I can answer for you?
It is just like when the other pharmacy shipped to Safeway, if they're like a previous I know there's no share service agreement, but there's a verbal agreement. Did they talk to each other, or just that Safeway received the medication out of nowhere?
Yeah, so in this case, interestingly, the sending pharmacy, Eversana, did reach out to an employee of Safeway, and that communication is documented in their response. So they did reach out to somebody at Safeway. They did get the approval to send the medication from somebody at Safeway. However, it appears that the person at the receiving pharmacy, Safeway, was not the PIC and was not the pharmacist on duty. So when Safeway did receive that medication, the pharmacist and the PIC declined to administer it for the patient.
Okay. Thank you very much. And the one who approved it, like verbally, what's the title there? He was the person.
I don't recall that being
Yeah.
documented.
Yeah.
They documented the conversation that they did reach out. They did speak with somebody at the pharmacy, but I don't recall that they documented who specifically they spoke to.
And did I see that they also have it on their website? So it shows that that's a regular pharmacy that it could go to?
Yeah, that's correct. This is a cost cost program for the patient where they get long-acting injectables at a significantly reduced or free cost. It's a program that pharmacies have to sign up for, similar to 340B in a way. But this is for psych meds and for special patient populations. The sending pharmacy, Eversana, typically would send this medication to the patient's provider. However, the patient's provider was unable to administer or unable to accept, and so the patient requested it get sent somewhere more convenient. The sending pharmacy, Eversana, did their research and found that this Safeway pharmacy is eligible to receive the long-acting injectable medication. And as a practice, Safeway does administer long-acting injectable medications. The difference in this case is that the patient was a patient of the original pharmacy, Eversana, and not a patient of the Safeway pharmacy. That's why the Safeway pharmacy would not administer it in this case.
Okay.
So Eversana pharmacy staff inject medications?
No,
No.
typically they would send it to the patient's practitioner and it would be administered by the healthcare practitioner.
But their own label, their own medications.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah,
Matt,
for those specialty meds. Yes, that makes sense.
clarifying question. It sounds like it sounded like you said that there is a contract between Eversana and Safeway.
Yeah, so I'd like to clarify that. Both Eversana and Safeway are members of this cost-sharing program for patients, but they're not affiliated with each other. I could relate it or compare it to two hospitals that are 340B hospitals, but not related to each other. They're both able to administer off of this program, but they're not necessarily connected to each other in any way.
That makes sense. So they have the same sources of medications, but they're not connected.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And in this case, the receiving pharmacy, from what the PIC told me, they did not understand that they were going to administer it to the patient, that they were just receiving the medication and giving it to the patient. They weren't counseling. They literally had no place in the medication except to hand it to the patient. That's what the receiving pharmacy thought that they were doing.
And Eversana's claimed that they spoke to someone from Safeway.
Yes,
But
sir.
Safeway did not confirm that ever happened.
That's correct. Yep.
Yep. So
And Mr. Jacobson, in order for this Safeway to administer it, they would need a shared services agreement.
Mhm.
to dispense it.
So that's an area where I'm not completely clear. If two pharmacies share services for a medication, then they have to have a shared service agreement. In this case, Eversana was only shipping it as a pickup location to the Safeway. That's why Safeway didn't feel they needed a shared services agreement. And maybe the executive director could speak to that a little bit.
That's a bigger topic we're gonna have to discuss as far as shared services. Yeah, that's still a question of whether Safeway can even be just a pickup location.
Right.
Yeah, but Safeway did not confirm or that they had this verbal approval, correct? I mean, as I know the pharmacy manager said he doesn't know where this came from, right? And only Eversana said they already spoke with Safeway.
Correct. It seemed like very informal documentation about who they spoke to, but they did document that they got approval, that the Safeway would handle the medication. And that's why they felt that they were okay to ship it.
And Mr. Jacobson, just for additional clarity, for the record, this product, this prescription only product can only be distributed to somebody authorized to administer. Why can't they ship directly to the patient?
I believe this medication is a long-acting injectable, and it does require a healthcare practitioner to administer and monitor, correct?
It would seem a visiting nurse or somebody like that would be able to administer it if it was sent to the person.
I agree, Mr. Thornwald, and there were notes in the documentation from Eversana that they made attempts to reach out to other providers. They were trying to help the patient, is from what I could tell.
From my view of all of this, not only are we having confusion over it, but if we're having confusion over it, I can see where the pharmacy could be confused about this as well. I don't see. I see people trying to do good things, and I don't see where people are intentionally or accidentally making mistakes. I see people making good decisions, but not clear on what the rules are or the laws are with regard to that.
Yeah, I'm assuming positive intent here too. I think that they're looking out for, or trying to look out for the patient. Dr. Gandhi made a comment that I think we need to explore as potentially as a full board with the shared services and the potential violation noted here. I'm curious if there's any appetite of just moving this to full board for full board discussion outside of just the four of us for next
Yes.
week.
I would agree on that.
All right, that would be my motion.
Yes.
All right, I've got a first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to tab 4C. This is complaint number 26-31. Respondent is Shannon Marie Lightburn. The pharmacy technician trainee was terminated for violating company policy. We'll open the floor for discussion. And
I was just gonna say, she removed the cap for the 90-day supply, admitted to it. So definitely unethical behavior, prohibited activities with an obvious purpose in place for safety, right? The company has something in place and she chose not to follow it. So I feel like this should be disciplinary, so not non-disciplinary. But I did have a question, like, how did she get the code? I don't know if I missed that part or if Mr. Wagner could answer that. Did it anywhere say how she got the two different pharmacist codes to be able to override the cap?
No, I did not obtain that information.
Ms. Browning, I think I read that she, the pharmacist walked away from their terminal and she logged in behind them, so that she didn't need the code.
Oh, okay. Because I remember I thought they always had to have an actual passcode to override a cap lock. But she just walked onto their computer and did it. Okay, that makes sense. So my motion would be to give her disciplinary, like 3 hours of disciplinary CE on ethics or something similar if I'm out of line on that.
I totally agree with discipline, Ms. Browning. I think what she did is egregious. I think that particularly she's a trainee, so she's within her first 3 years of entering our profession, and I would think we should do more than just CE. I think she should be on probation. I think this is pretty bad.
Yeah, my thought was definitely disciplinary, but I was not sure since she will have to carry that along with her for the rest of her time. I didn't know if the CE would be enough since it's disciplinary to show seriousness, or if it would need to be further of like probation. Anybody else have a thought on that?
I mean, I am good with your 3 hours discipline CEs. Mr. Anderson, just because she's a trainee, so she's in the process of learning, right? This is not acceptable. This is totally like violate all rules. But the fact is technician trainee, so that's a question. That's why I would be would be satisfied with 3 hours.
Yeah, she did this at 2 locations under 2 different pharmacists.
Yeah.
And this is this is really bad conduct. This isn't mistakes. This is
Intentional.
intentional.
Intentional, but who, I mean, was she trained this way or like it is a culture? That's a question. And that's what I'm like, that's what I'm like going through it or thinking through it. Is it like her because of her or that's just culture there?
I read that the pharmacists that responded to this complaint were unaware that she did this.
Yeah.
That's correct. I interviewed both the pharmacists and neither were aware that this had occurred.
My question would be, even though she's done it twice, if she didn't, nobody told her, again, going back to the training, that this was the wrong thing to do the first time, she would have assumed that it was okay to do the second time. So if that was the case, then I would be for just the CE. But if it wasn't, I would think there should be more than.
She did it. It says 5 to 6 times at 2 different pharmacies under 2 different pharmacists.
Again, I would go back to that same thing. If nobody told her it was wrong,
Has been she coached or corrected?
Mr. Thorwald, we're having a difficult time hearing you. I'm not sure if the other board members or staff members have the same, but I certainly am.
I'll speak up. Is that any better?
Yes.
That is better. You may need to bring the mic in a little bit closer to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that going behind somebody and accessing their computer and using their credentials to do something is it cannot be considered as.
No, it's not okay. Absolutely, it's not okay.
Yeah, that's why I chose disciplinary because it's not okay. It was definitely unethical, uncalled for. She did it multiple times. But as a trainee, I was thinking that discipline's gonna follow with her. So as long as it says disciplinary, that's gonna follow with her. So she's gonna have to deal with that even if she applies as a regular tech or anything moving forward. So it's between probation or CE.
I would be okay with just discipline as a CE, but with more hours of CE.
Okay, so
How
I
about
would
like
agree
3 hours on law and 3 hours on ethics?
I like that. Okay.
Sorry, she's a tech registrant, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if she applies for a technician license, it may not necessarily, if she fulfills her term under consent agreement, it's not going to show designation in our database once she transitions to a technician. Unless we present it back to you guys, and then you guys make a determination to make that notation. And staff, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's our understanding of our software. Now, it's always going to be in a national practitioner's database, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But not in our database
Yeah.
once she transitions to the next license.
Can we make a motion that she would also have to come back to the board before she switches over as a technician? So the 6 hours of CE and would need to come in front of the board before, or is that not?
I like that. If we're not going to do probation, that's like a standard term on a probation, but if we're not going to do probation and we can use that language in the consent agreement, I think that would be good.
So she comes before the board before
She transitions into a technician.
transition into a pharmacy technician. I like that. Just like to make sure she understands.
I'm gonna ask Hannah if she's on, or one of our staff members. Since she doesn't have an application, might be difficult for us to flag.
Right.
Unless manually we keep a tracker on her.
It would be difficult to see, yes,
Yeah.
it would be, there would be a chance that she'd be issued a license without going back to the board. If there was
Maybe,
probation, we would see it.
yeah,
Okay, so then I'll make a motion to do disciplinary probation so that we can at least track it and see it before she switches license.
So considering she's got a trainee registration, would we just do that for the duration of what are you thinking for the probationary period, Ms. Brown?
A year. 2 years. I don't know what's common.
So when she was not licensed, like got her registration. Let me see.
So because of this nuance with the registration versus the license, is there a way that we could just do it for the duration, the probation for the duration of the trainee
Yeah,
registration?
we can do it this way.
And in that way, it will flag and enable us to review the application when and if she applies to become a full technician.
Mr. President, her registration expires October 31st of this year.
Okay.
This is Jean Galvin, if I may. If you did probation, say for, a period of 4 months, attach education to that as you were, talking about in ethics and law. Give her the 4 months to complete. That probation is going to be on the record. And then Jennifer, if she submitted an application for a technician, you're going to see that probation, are you not?
Yes, that's correct. Mhm.
So I don't think we have to worry about it extending for the full, period of time, but we can, given that she expires in October, but make it like a 3-month probation, has to complete that education, and then staff will see it if she applies for a technician.
Okay, I'll make that my motion.
And just to be clear, her registration expires August 31st, 2026.
So what's the motion again now?
To offer her a consent agreement for probation through August 31st to complete 6 hours of disciplinary CE, 3 in ethics and 3 in law. And then she would have to come back before the board before her application for a technician is approved, should she apply.
I like it. Do we, Ms. Browning, that was your motion?
That was my motion.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, we've got 1 opposed. Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4D. This is complaint number 26-0051, respondent Walrain 4722. And Annie Joelle Roman, a pharmacy technician, communicated protected health information via texting. Open the floor for discussion.
So
HIPAA violation. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I don't think she replied. Has she replied? The technician, has she responded?
She did respond, stating that she will not be providing a response because
Okay,
she
that's
has
what I
left the
meant.
country
Okay,
permanently.
I don't know in this case, like,
My motion would be, if there's no further discussion, would be to move to hearing for revocation or accept a consent agreement for voluntary surrender.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4E, this is complaint number 26-0103, respondent Civic Center LLC. Emily Ozello, Preston Emilio Sandoval, the pharmacy sold a prescription to the. And I think Ms. Browning, this is the one you're recused on, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. President, if I may, this is Jennifer. We've received a request to postpone this to the August meeting so that and one of the respondents' legal counsel can provide additional response.
All right, very good. So is there a motion to table this till August?
I move we table this till August.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4F, this is 26-0101, respondent Fries 667, Vani Astorga, Helen Darmo, Justin David Prosisi. The pharmacy filled a prescription with the wrong medication. We'll open the floor for discussion. This one-
Go ahead.
I was just gonna comment, and this one, we did get patient harm with this one. The case involves a dispensing error where a patient was prescribed carbidopa levodopa and instead received a mixture that contained baclofen. The error reached the patient, leading to loss of symptom control and a hospital admission.
Yeah, so I was going to say it's a very serious case because of the hospitalization and the error both. They did explain that they did try to make precautionary measures for the future. So it's great that they did that. They created labelings showing the lookalike. So they're trying to make it more safe. However, they did bypass something that put in place for safety. So they did bypass that. So I wasn't sure how everybody else felt, but I was between maybe a disciplinary CE on this one. Specifically for the technician, yeah.
Technician JP.
JP.
I agree that it should be disciplinary.
So, let's start with technician JP. So it seems like there's a consensus on moving forward for a disciplinary pathway for him.
Yes, so maybe 3 hours of disciplinary CE for JP.
Okay.
Patient safety or
Patient safety, yes.
observation. Yeah.
My thought is to dismiss the permit holder and the pharmacist in charge and pharmacy technician HD.
I had some alternative just comments. I'm not necessarily opposed to the dismissal against the pharmacist. But clearly, you know, they had a failure here too. And that they had a final accuracy check and there was baclofen mixed in that bottle. I think in the past, we have given non-disciplinary CE to the pharmacist who missed
Verification.
yeah. So
Okay.
instead of dismissing completely, consider non-disciplinary CE for the pharmacist.
I would be okay with that.
I think the pharmacist should have that as well.
Okay.
All right, so Ms. Brown, your motion then for the permit and for pharmacy technician HD is to dismiss.
Dismiss 3 hours of non-disciplinary CE for the pharmacist in patient med error, and then 3 hours of disciplinary CE for JP in a patient med error also.
Thank you, Ms. Browning. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4G. This is complaint number 0385. Respondent is Trisha Lynn Stevens. The licensee failed to report charges within 10 working days. We'll open the floor for discussion.
Looks like it was the first offense, so I would go with the failure to disclose the $250 fine.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4H. This is respondent CVS 5892, Taylor Jordan Brady, Ryan Anthony Moreno. And Jonathan Galindo, the pharmacy sold a prescription to the incorrect patient. We'll open the floor for discussion.
I was wondering if I could ask Mr. Haber if I was reading it, but I just wanted to make sure I was clear. I was a little unclear on who bagged the medication. And can you kind of run through the scenario a little of what you think happened?
Yeah, last name is Hyber, by the way, just so
Oh,
you know.
sorry, Hyber.
No problem.
Excuse me.
Steve Hyber, compliance officer. There were two scenarios in this because the two possible errors involved an area of pharmacy processing that doesn't really have good documentation. You know, the law doesn't call out documentation of who makes the transaction when the prescription is sold. And also when there's a return to stock that possibly got mixed in with the order for patient BS, that there wouldn't be any documentation necessarily for that, the way this pharmacy processes prescriptions. So that's why we have two scenarios. And video wasn't available by the time we got to the point in this investigation where where video may have provided us with some additional help in that regard. So scenario number one involves a possibility that this error was created by a return to stock mistake. The prescription that ended up with patient BS, that prescription would have been sitting in the bins for 14 days from when it was filled. So that prescription was filled entirely separately, 14 days prior to the date that the prescriptions were sold to that patient, to patient BS. And so there's no way they could have been mixed up in the normal fill process. However, since this pharmacy routinely pulls prescriptions that are 14 days old, that's one of the possibilities, that it got pulled and it was somewhere near the prescriptions that were being filled and somehow got into the bag. Once that bag is sealed, it'll move on to the pharmacist for verification, but it's an electronic image that's being verified. The pharmacist only physically viewed the C2 prescription in that 4 prescription order. The 3 other prescriptions would have been imaged, and there's no record in the imaging that was performed of the incorrect medication. That's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is one that we see very many times when a prescription is in the pickup bins. In this case, it would have been in the bins and it would not have been pulled for return to stock, but it was picked up and included with the 4 prescriptions for patient BS, but it was not scanned. And we know later we saw evidence that that prescription was reversed. It was never rung up. So our feeling is, or based upon the evidence, it appears that that prescription remained on a lag report. And when that prescription, since it was never rung up in the first place, and it was over 14 days old, it was on the lag report, it was reversed to clear it from the lag report. That's scenario number 2.
So, Mr. Hyber, in both cases or scenarios, there is no involvement for pharmacists. Is that right?
Well,
is that fair?
Legally, the pharmacist is responsible who's on duty when the prescriptions are sold to make sure they're sold to the correct person. I did cite that. Our 423-402-A16. So legally, that pharmacist that we cited is legally responsible to ensure those activities occur correctly.
But part of the workflow, the pharmacist will not verify those vials physically, right? Only.
Well, they won't. The pharmacist in this particular chain will not open the sealed bag after the technician has imaged it.
Okay.
So if you want to look at that as a flaw in the process where this type of error can be undetected, then you have your information.
Thank you.
Board members, thoughts on where to go with this?
My instinct would be to dismiss the permit holder and the pharmacist and then do 3 hours of non-disciplinary CE in med error for the technician, but I can't determine if it would be RM or JG that should get that 3 hours, just because it's hard to determine.
That make it difficult. Yeah, that's.
Or do we just do both?
Is it fair to do both just based on assumption? I don't know.
Yeah, do you guys have thoughts on that?
That's noted in my notes, say like who can be held accountable on this.
Yeah, so maybe, yeah, Thorwell or Mr. Anderson, do you guys have a thought on those two? Like which one out of JM or JG?
If we don't know and we can't be sure, you either have to do both or none, in my mind. And my other thought with respect to the pharmacist and the process, if this could have been resolved by the pharmacist opening the bag and checking it that way, then there's an issue with the process. And by the, can you hear me any better, by the way?
Yeah, I think you have to move your microphone away a little bit now, because now it's staticky, like we hear you very staticky.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
Do we want to open to the wisdom of 4 more colleagues in a full board, or do we want to bring a motion or bring a recommendation to them?
I will take it to full board review next week. This will be my motion.
Do we have any?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4I. This is complaint number 25-0721, respondent CVS 52, Deborah Stalker, Louis Alcieri. The pharmacy filled a prescription with the incorrect medication. We'll open the floor for discussion.
My initial thought is to dismiss the permit holder. And then since pharmacist went through after it was rejected and then reapproved it, I want to include her in this. So doing both non-disciplinary med error CE for both the tech and the pharmacist.
That's what I was thinking.
So I would like to make that my motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4J. This is complaint 26-0139. Respondent Asado Red Mountain and Zachary Grant Merrill. The pharmacy labeled a prescription with an incorrect expiration date. We'll open the floor for discussion.
This one's an interesting one because the vial itself had a proper BUD on it. So that when you see the actual drug that they received had the proper BUD, the outer vial had the incorrect BUD. Do we know if it was intentional as was in the report? I don't know that a pharmacy would intentionally do that. So my first thought was to dismiss as a customer service issue, but then my second one is this considered a possible misbranding or a med error? So I would love to just talk around that and see what your thoughts were.
Mine was here I was thinking about conference to ask.
More questions?
Yeah, more questions.
Yeah, I saw, I think Mr. Hyber, the potential violations for Mr. Merrill. If the labeling is false or misleading in any particular, it's misbranding according to ARS 32-1967 A1D2, and then make a final accuracy check of the completed prescription label. So I think Mr. Merrill, there was a performance deficit there. I don't think it was intentional. I don't think he was trying to be on the labeling, particularly with his explanation. But it was a miss.
Yeah. Okay. I would second if we want to take it to hearing.
Not hearing conference, just for
Oh,
more
conference,
question.
conference.
Yeah.
Do you really think we're gonna get much more out of it?
So if it's, I mean, to me, just, I had a couple questions, but I don't know if it's clear for you, like there's a kind of medication error from pharmacist.
Yeah. What would, for misbranding, would that be non-disciplinary or disciplinary? Like kind of what, do you know in the history what we normally would do for that?
Based on the response here, I see that this was a human error. I don't see that this was at risk or reckless conduct.
Yeah.
So I would align with non-disciplinary CE on this.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah, so I'll take back my second.
I rescind my motion.
I'd make a motion for non-disciplinary CE, 3 hours in medication error prevention for Mr. Merrill and dismiss the permit holder.
I would second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4K. This is 26-71. Respondent CBS, Andrea Lisa Stoker, Armani Yvette Felix Moore. The pharmacy administered an influenza vaccine to a patient who requested a COVID vaccine. Open the floor for discussion.
From what I see, the paperwork was completed and signed by the patient for the influenza. So as I read through, I don't see enough evidence that there was a true violation. And the paper was signed. So even if it was a conversation as they went through and counseled and had the paperwork signed, it was signed for the right medication. So I would recommend to dismiss.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4L. This is 26-89. Respondent Walgreens 6177 and Jordan Dale Call. The pharmacist delivered a medication to a patient that belonged to someone else. Open the floor for discussion.
Yeah, it is a dispensing error, falls on pharmacist. So what I'm thinking of, dismiss permit holder and apply 3 hours of patient safety, non-disciplinary on pharmacist.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4M. This is complaint 26-0143. Respondent Walgreens 3657, Benjamin Woodruff and Lacey Sager. Pharmacy filled a prescription with the incorrect medication. We'll open the floor for discussion.
I did have one question that maybe I missed. It said they double counted the medication, but the medication's different sizes. So I was just interested how they didn't catch the different sizes. Does the compliance officer have any thoughts on that?
So the tablets look shape-wise look similar, oblong and white color. So they did not pay attention to the inscription, the numbers etched on the tablet. And the technician, he probably read the story, used the return to stock bottle, but did not check the accuracy and discarded the bottle, and then picked up the correct medication and counted. But she did not pay attention to the slight differences in the shape and size and inscription on the tablets. And pharmacist manager, he thinks that the hydrocodone tablets were placed in the bottom of the bottle and the correct medication was on the top of the bottle, so he could not completely verify. He only opened the cap and looked at the top of the bottle. and then proceeded with the verification. This is obviously was checked on the video according to the pharmacist manager. That's how they determined this happened. And
So
I provided the pictures from the patient and slight differences that you can see. In the
yeah, I
subsequent
noticed the difference in pill sizes. So that's interesting. They missed that, but it looks like a med error. So
Yeah, they're not up to scale as far as the image is concerned, but they're close enough, you know.
yeah, I would say make a motion to dismiss the permit holder and give 3 hours of non-disciplinary med error CE to both the pharmacist and the technician, since they were both involved.
So Ms. Browning, I just have a comment on, this is kind of similar to the previous one that we differentiated and we did give disciplinary CE to the technician. Because they did, I mean, both of them involved bypassing, safety
Process.
guardrails that are established by their employer. And so I wanted to throw that out there for consideration because they didn't follow their return to stock, how they are supposed to handle those return to stock when they are using them in dispensing.
Are you referring to the other case when the patients, cause patients harm? That's the case we're talking about, right?
Yeah. So
Here,
Mr. Al-Nassif, are you also thinking of doing disciplinary?
no, I was, I agree with your with your current motion.
Okay.
Because the patient's harm, that will make me agree with you and put non-disciplinary for both.
Non-disciplinary?
For both. That's
Okay. So I'll make my motion, dismiss the permit holder and then non-disciplinary on meta error for both the pharmacist and the technician.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4N. This is complaint number 26-0145, respondent Ariel Curry. The registrant violated a non-disciplinary order for continuing education. The floor for discussion.
In this cases, I would like to move for hearing.
Hearing or for conference?
A hearing, because we already they're not really responding to the board. They're not coachable, to be honest with you.
Agree. I think we need to proceed and move this registrant off our rosters and move it for potential revocation. Do we automatically offer a consent agreement for voluntary surrender?
It's not automatic, but if you'd like to add that to your motion.
What do you think, Mr. Nassif?
Yeah, I add this to my motion.
I second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4O. This is complaint 26-171. Respondent is Serena Bray. The licensee may have failed to report charges within 10 working days. The licensee failed to comply with subpoena. For the record, the respondent was previously employed at my current employer, but I have no personal knowledge of the respondent and no involvement in the matters before this board on this case. So I'm able to remain fair and impartial and unbiased in my consideration of this case. Ms. Galvin, do you think that's sufficient, or do you think I should recuse?
I think that is sufficient.
Thank you. And we will open the floor for discussion.
For failure to comply with the subpoena, I would recommend moving to hearing.
I agree with that.
Okay, so this is my motion.
Second.
And you would accept a voluntary surrender in lieu of?
Yes.
Modify the second to include that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4P. This is complaint number 26-0211. Respondent Palani Ray. The licensee violated a consent agreement for civil penalty, continuing education and audit. We'll open the floor for discussion.
Interesting. When I went through his CE monitor, he got it done the 10th of March and it was due by March 17th. So why he didn't respond was interesting to me. If it was a financial issue, he didn't try before the date to contact us. So I'd make a motion to move to conference for not complying with the board order.
I second.
Conference or straight to hearing?
I would say conference only because he did the CE and then it was a financial issue. So it's just maybe give him a little time to figure out why or to explain himself.
I mean, he's at over 6 months and he had 2 years to complete 30 hours, opted not to do his CE at all, and he got himself into this position. I think we've given him plenty of time to pay his fine. I'm fine with going to conference. I just don't know what it's going to get us.
Okay, so what was your recommendation instead of conference?
I think we should move to hearing for revocation. He needs some fire to get him to pay his fine.
I'll remove my motion, but if someone else wants to make that motion.
I will send my second. Yeah.
I'm open to other thoughts too. Ms. Mitchell, any comments on this? Has he's just not paying?
He's still not paid his civil penalty, and I actually have not heard from him since the second complaint.
Have you tried to reach out to him and he did not call you back, or?
We were in email communication for a while and then that stopped.
That stopped.
Unless we take major action, they're not gonna pay at all, and we're just gonna continue in this situation. After this length of period of time, I see no other course than taking severe action.
So, Mr. Anderson, you're thinking to go directly for hearing, right?
Correct.
Okay, I'll make this my motion. I'll make this my motion.
Second, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 4Q. This is complaint number 26-62. Respondent Walgreen, number 4102. Olivia Diaz and Michael Nathan Rice. The pharmacy dispensed the incorrect dosage form to a patient. We'll open the floor for discussion.
The pharmacist caught the error after the 11 fills and contacted the patient in the office. I feel like they followed their company process. There was no adverse effects. So my initial motion that I'd like to make is to dismiss the permit holder and assign the pharmacist and the tech both 3 hours of non-disciplinary CE for med error.
I will second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4R. This is complaint number 25-0730. Respondent Safeway number 2648 and Prisa Osire, Oregon. The pharmacy failed to control losses of controlled substances. We'll open the floor for discussion. So this matter did come before us after a DEA 106 reported the loss of tramadol. The investigation did find that over approximately 1 year, a technician diverted tramadol by placing unauthorized manual orders through a shared wholesaler account, adjusting inventory quantities in the system, and discarding invoices. The pharmacy utilized a shared login credential rather than individual user accounts with their wholesaler. and controlled substance ordering and receiving occurred without, from what I can see, reliable pharmacist oversight.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, what I noted is like conference, just to have more questions, for both, I've been thinking about that for both or only for the PIC. That's my question here.
I think we keep them bundled together. if we're-
Okay,
Yeah, I'd agree both.
okay. So this is my motion, move for conference.
I would second.
And any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4S, this is 26-0080. Respondent Accredo Health, Lisa Marie Gerton, Sonia Broswell. The pharmacy failed to follow its standard operating procedures after a patient reported a delivery delay that impacted the medication's cold storage requirements. Open the floor for discussion.
When I read this, my initial thought is it's a customer service issue. It's not, it's upsetting, like very frustrating for a patient that needs their medications. Any item getting shipped on a Friday to a Saturday often gets delayed. That's very common that I see in practice. So I would say to dismiss because there's not enough evidence, was my initial thoughts.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4T. This is complaint number 26-0149. Respondent is Walgreen 9460. Has Muldeen Dari, Young Uni Shang, and Aldisa Sarinana. Pharmacy dispensed the incorrect dosage form to a patient. We'll open the floor for discussion.
Yeah, it's totally like error missed by staff. So I'm just trying to read my notes here. I'm sorry, Mr. Jacobson. So we have two pharmacists here listed. I thought I put enough notes for me. So what is the involvement for each pharmacist here?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Al-Nassif, for the question. Pharmacist Young Sheen was the data review pharmacist. So the technician typed it incorrectly. Pharmacist Sheen approved it, data reviewed it incorrectly. And then pharmacist Dahari did the DUR review and approved it incorrectly as well. According to the Walgreens policy, both pharmacists have accountability, and of course the technician that typed it wrong.
Okay, that's my what I missed. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jacobson. So I'm thinking to dismiss permit holder and applies 3 hours non-disciplinary CE on those both pharmacists and a technician.
Mr. Al-Nassif, would you be opposed to doing maybe more hours, like 6 hours for HD, since they were the ones that completed the DUR? Because it was error, but then they overrode the DUR after it still
About
popped
the
up.
email, yeah, it is overruled. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes. And 6 hours, like patient safety or error prevention.
Yes, I would second that motion.
Yeah, so that's my motion.
Okay, we've got a first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to tab 4U. This is complaint number 26-0209, respondent CBS number 9319, and Cambry Michaela Goff. The pharmacy technician trainee touched medication with her bare hands and did not follow proper sanitary procedures when using a counting machine. We'll open the floor for discussion.
This one, she didn't follow the company SOP, which showed that you should not touch medication with your bare hands. Seems like a little disrespectful to the patient. But I didn't know what would be a common action on something like this. Since there is an SOP in place, went around it, it would be, to me, common knowledge that you shouldn't touch a tablet with your
There's a
bare
common
hands.
knowledge, it's USP rules and there's
Yeah.
many rules around this.
I think that's very good points, is like, you know, the trainee, responded to this complainant that they believed it was permissible and that food handling, requirements didn't apply. So it just makes me think bigger on this, on that potentially their training has been inadequate. Here they are, a trainee, and they're shooting their mouth off to this complainant who obviously got irritated. And, their pharmacist who's overseeing them allowed them to speak that way and didn't correct their behavior. And it took a board complaint for them to recognize that, whoa, I shouldn't be touching capsules and tablets with my hands. So it makes me wonder the rigor in their training program. What does CVS have here? Because you've got a trainee, doing this, and they're none the wiser. They think it's acceptable. They're telling the patient or the customer or complainant in this case that they think that there's no issue with them touching it. And the pharmacist on duty who's overseeing them didn't speak up. So I'm just concerned about
We don't have evidence if the pharmacist on duty, like how did react.
True.
Correct.
So
So
one thing, Mr. Carlaputi, do you have any evidence of the technician's training, their competency documents, those sorts of things that should be on file before they do a task?
Mr. President, I haven't sought that information from the permit holder. I can get that for you next time if you like.
It does say that they undergone retraining, which tells me they already did have training on it. So on 4/24, they did retraining to adhere to all sanitation and safety standards. So retraining insinuates, right, that they done it additionally one other time, at least.
I'm really kind of curious and like to see that file and see what they were trained on and their competency.
I mean, do you expect to see like training on washing hands or don't touching, or like they should have policy or procedure maybe, right? Or something like to direct their staff not to do so. But there is always the common sense rules and common sense law. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they have it or they don't have this, but even they don't have it, should be a common sense or common law.
Totally agreed, but clearly they didn't, because
Yeah.
And there's this
Just to
SOP on
understand.
file. They put it in there, so it's in our book that there was an SOP
Yeah.
that signed off on that they knew that.
well, they know it after the fact, after they were brought to the attention that they weren't following it. But
Yeah.
were they taught this initially? I don't know.
So what I'm really thinking of, dismiss the permit holder and for technician trainee apply 6 hours. But I don't know if there's any topic can cover this.
Sanitation and safety
There's something exist for this? I'm not sure.
or medication safety standards.
Like regarding dispensing medication or
Handling.
handling medications.
Yeah, safety of handling. I'm sure there's a CE. I couldn't tell you right now because I'd have to look it up, but
Can any of the board staff can help us if they're aware of any CE around this area exist? Or any topic can cover this area? So I move to dismiss permit holder and I'll apply 6 hours of CE. 3 of them is medication safety and 3 hours or like 6 hours around handling medications or whatever the board staff approve. They can like approve around this topic.
I second.
All right, we've got a first and a second. Any further discussion?
I'm sorry, is that disciplinary or not?
Or none, yeah.
I'll just share some comments. I'm not for this. I do think that the permit holder, you've got a trainee here. Mr. Carlo Putti did offer to, find additional information on their training program, their training materials. I'm just curious on, they're hiring these trainees, that they're easy to get these registrations, they're throwing them into the workflows, aren't sufficiently training them, clearly not competent. I think there's a bigger picture that we as a board should be looking at instead of just assigning non-disciplinary CE to a trainee. I think the permit holders should have accountability here. I think that's our role, is to foster accountability with the permit holder. We see a number of trainees in front of us today and multiple times. And the rigor of these training programs, I feel is sufficient. And we're getting complaints like this from a consumer who is having to confront somebody because they're using their hands to fill a machine. And I just, yes, you're gonna address it with this one individual, but I think the bigger issue here is the training program for these technician trainees. And that's my comment.
So,
But we've got a first and a second.
so Mr. Anderson, yeah, I mean, I hear you and I agree with your concern, but what the expectation from the permit holder? So that's what I'm asking. Like, it is like to train people. Is it they need like training, or they having policy? What we're looking for?
I think our regs say that before a trainee does any sort of duty, they need to be, they need to have competency assessed
Competency
and documented.
So
I agree with President Anderson on that one.
okay, I resend my motion. Can we table it till see if our compliance officer can? I don't know if we have enough time for the next week.
And I resend mine.
I can reach out and see if they can provide additional documentation on what type of training they provided.
Okay. So I believe we can table it for, not table it, just like move it for full board review. Yeah.
All right. So we have a motion for full board. We have the motion.
Yeah, this is my motion. I moved.
Ms. Browning, was that a second?
Second, yeah.
Right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4V, this is complaint number 26-0225. Respondent is Sela Diaz. The licensee may have failed to report charges within 10 working days. Open the floor for discussion.
This is just failure to disclose $250 fine.
What I see.
Yeah, that's your motion?
Yeah, motion.
Yeah, I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to tab 4W. This is complaint number 26-0119. Respondent is Centerwell Pharmacy Incorporated, Samantha Rees, Jennifer Vogel Sabelka. The pharmacy substituted a medication that did not align with the provider's order. Open the floor for discussion.
After reading the notes and that the physician had a note in there that they were okay to fill with any manufacturer besides the KVK brand that was noted in the history, I personally didn't see any violations and would move to dismiss after reading all the documentation that was given to us.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4X. This is 26-0184. Respondent Walgreen Brian Daniel Gange, and Muhammad Abawi. The pharmacy dispensed a fraudulent prescription to a patient. We'll open the floor for discussion.
I would like to make a disclosure on this one. I did work with Mr. Abawi about 20 years ago, but it wouldn't make any effect on my decision-making ability in this case. Is that acceptable, Ms. Galvin? Okay, thank you.
I would just like to hear from Mr. Hyber. I mean, you put enough notes and everything's clear here. The only thing, like, maybe I misread it, like, who is the prescriber that's what I confused with. Like, there's two prescriber names, right? That's what I said, like Abbas and Monica, something like this.
Yeah, hi, this is Michael Veltri, Compliance Officer. This is actually my case.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
yeah, I thought, sorry, Steve. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so the complainant was a prescriber, but this was the prescription that was provided by the pharmacy for this particular patient. The one that they realized was a fraudulent prescription.
Thought this was a tricky one. It looked legitimate outside of the little tiny fax number that was on top. And then counseling was declined, I noticed. So I felt this was just tricky, and I didn't know if we have a history of what we've done in a similar case in the past.
Yeah, it's a non-control medication, but it's high diverted meds, but it's a non-control medications, so it can be easily missed, right?
I don't remember anything that we've had in my tenure of anything similar to this.
So my notes here, I was like thinking dismiss payment order and a letter of concern to a pharmacist. That's what I wrote to my note.
Non-disciplinary or
No, just it's the letter of concern. It is no CE.
literally no
Like a
non.
warning letter, yeah, or letter
Okay.
of concern.
I would second that.
Yeah, that's my motion.
All right, any further for both pharmacists, Mr. Nassif, or just the dispensing pharmacist?
For the one who did the DUR or the verification, data entry verification for that person. Let me just look at my notes here.
That was the pharmacist Mohamed Abahi.
Yeah, for this and dismiss permit holder and the other pharmacist.
So we've got a first and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I do have a hard stop here in about 2 minutes. Next case is tab 4Y 26-0157. Respondent Walgreen number 4077 and Animesh Tawari. The pharmacy improperly opened the sterile packages on syringes, needles, and bandages prior to performing immunizations. The pharmacy also failed to quarantine expired syringes and needles. We'll open the floor for discussion.
So in the notes, it said upon inspection, they didn't find any pre-removed items, but did find expired needles and syringes in the cabinet. So how I'm thinking non-disciplinary letter of concern or a letter of concern
Can
to,
you, excuse me, can you repeat yourself there? Did you say there were no expired product?
no, there was. You found
Okay.
expired needles and syringes in the filing cabinet in the room, correct?
Correct. Yeah, large amounts of expired
Oh,
product.
large
Mhm.
amounts.
Yeah, large.
And
Mr.
they're not quarantined, they might be using, right? So, so it's not like one product, there's like a large amount of expired. So
Mr. Hyber,
this
did
cons-
did it show that it had a note like quarantine not to be used, or it literally was just in the cabinet and they could be using it or not using it?
There were no visible signage or anything displayed. It was in the actual immunization room in the cabinets, as if it was overstocked for eventual use.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the violation is about having expired meds. I don't know if it's considered one item or 3 items. I don't know, Mr. Anderson, if you have enough time to discuss, or we can pause here and we revisit.
I think,
when we
I
come
think
back.
let's go ahead and take a 15-minute break and we'll resume at 2:30.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
All right, welcome back. I appreciate the 15-minute break. Looks like is Ms. Browning back. Yep, there she is. All right, we are on tab 4Y 26-0157. And we were having some good discussion on expired supplies. And we'll reopen the discussion.
So we're talking about like expired med were found in the pharmacy or in the immunization room. So, Mr. Hyber, have you ever noticed like during inspection they have this issue like expired med on the shelves?
No, I have not, but I'll be honest, this wasn't the particular area of my own inspection focus. It is now. I've incorporated this in, so it's one of the things I like about this job. You're always learning something. So
thank you.
It was quite unusual for my
Yeah, but the pharmacy itself, inside the pharmacy, it never like been a concern for you about expired med during inspection, like routine
This was
inspection?
not a full inspection, but in the past, I haven't had issues with expired
okay.
medications leading to a violation.
Right. Thank you.
Mr. Hyber, did you see if did they have any sort of checklists or monthly checklists for supplies and any sort of processes in place to check for these that were just not followed, or did they not have a process for checking for expired supplies in their immunization room?
Not prior to their response, but I believe if you look deeper into this investigation case, you'll see that they did add that as a step in their response for remedial action.
So the language in the
They are muted.
Sorry, thank you. Since we don't have any official prior offenses, correct? Is that what we just heard? Is this
No
something we could do?
violation.
No
No violation.
violations?
Yeah.
Could we possibly do a fine per item, or how in the past have we handled items like this with expired drugs?
So expired drug is violation. It's not like shipping for unlicensed or so there is. I'm not aware unless I'm wrong.
I want to put some clarity out there. We keep on using the word expired drug, and it's not expired drug, right? It's
Supply.
expired supply.
Yeah.
Expired supply.
And just so everybody knows, the actual product, it's the sterilization and the packaging that really is what the dating is referring to. It's at a certain point, the sealed packaging, the manufacturer can't certify the sterility of an unopened package.
So my thoughts are between doing a fine per item, if that's something that we've ever done or could do, or send to conference to ask more questions.
I don't know if a conference is really going to give us any additional information. I think we know that they had at the time of Mr. Hyber's inspection expired syringes, and they now have a process in place. I like your idea of a fine because I think that's going to hardwire this across their organization. And I think to Mr. Hyber's point, the compliance officers learn something new every single day, and this wasn't an area that was even looked at. And it's probably not on their radar to check for expired products in this immunization room, and that's why it fell off the radar and why we're here today. So I think that a fine could help this organization share these learnings from this one location across their enterprise and hopefully do some good. So I like your train of thought with a fine for the permit holder.
So what kind of fine, Melinda, you've been thinking, like per box?
Per box.
And how many boxes there? Do you have a number like?
I don't remember.
Mr. Hyper, do you remember? Do you recall?
Oh, I didn't take a total box count. If I had known that, you know, that a fine would be part of it. We do have images. You could use them as a basis.
Or could we just do,
For violation?
could we just do a $1,000 fine?
Yeah, flat fine.
A flat fine, yeah.
Well, quick question. Did they have any SOPs about reviewing for expired items?
None were provided to me. They did respond, the PIC did provide a response about the new processes he has put into place, but I didn't reach out to the corporation. You know, I know that's where your question is leading. No.
Exactly. It seems like the corporation that size would have had covered that point because it's bound to have come up somewhere before in their history.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering if there were, and they weren't following it, that would change my opinion a bit. On the other hand, if there weren't, and that would also give me different direction in my thinking.
Pulling expired med is a normal
Yeah.
process for all pharmacies, and definitely this area has been overlooked. Maybe people did not look at it. Now, for the fine, the reason I disagree with fine, because we have many cases when pharmacy sold expired med to patients, and we have not put any fine. And also in the routine visits, sometimes they can find one item and they don't put the fine. It just give a warning to the pharmacy for next visit, not to be like repeat the same thing, right? So this is like should be sterile. I agree with that. And it's a supply, not a drug. But really, I don't see it different than when a pharmacy dispenses expired med to a patient. And that's why I'm not talking about violation here, not talking about action, I'm talking about fine. You know what I mean? And then when you're gonna apply a fine, and then you're gonna make it kind of like a new standard now, right? This is the way to correct things. I don't think so.
What would you feel would be reasonable? A letter of concern or a non-disciplinary advisory letter? Like what would?
I'll be one or the other for the pharmacy manager who really needs to manage and make sure everything is processed correctly and stored correctly.
I think it's bigger than the pharmacy manager. To Frank's point, I don't think that if they had an SOP, they would have shared it, or I don't think this is necessarily on somebody's radar to be checking syringes in an immunization room. And I think that's the gap here. And if we do it, because the violation that Mr. Hyber cited does say a pharmacy permittee or pharmacist in charge shall ensure. So I think we've got both are responsible here, that the permit holder's got some responsibility and so does the PIC. I think if we were considering a fine, which is disciplinary, I think a letter of reprimand might be a good, a consent agreement for a letter of reprimand might be good for the permit holder on this one, so that they do establish an SOP and perhaps a non-discipline for the PIC. I think addressing it with the permit holder should hopefully give a broader stretch to our action, broader impact.
I completely agree with that.
So instead of fine, so we can bring it to the permit holder by a letter of concern or a warning letter and apply some CEs for the pharmacy manager.
The concern with the letter of concern or and a warning letter is that that's non-disciplinary and they can just file that in their folder, you know. At least with a letter of reprimand, it's disciplinary, it shows, you know, they violated Arizona Arizona Administrative Code. And if we just do an advisory letter, I don't think that has enough teeth in it to deliver the impact that I think needs to happen.
Agreed.
But not each violation lead to disciplinary, right? Mr. Anderson, like not each violation. Sometimes we do disciplinary, sometimes non-disciplinary, is case by case.
Sure.
Let's.
My thought, although we don't have the SOP here, I can't imagine Walgreens doesn't have one. And working in retail and compounding and like all the different spaces I've worked in, there's always a policy. You need to check the expiration of everything regularly, right? Like I've never been in a pharmacy that didn't have a policy about checking expiration. So I can't imagine that's the case. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say that part. I feel like it's more that it got missed because it was in this room.
I would like to reach out to Walgreens and find out if they do.
I could take that as a takeaway, and maybe we'll have it by next week. We'll have a response.
Yeah, so let's like, thank you, Mr. Hyber. How about like we discuss it with the full board meeting, just the other case?
Sure.
So that give us time to see if they already have it.
Yeah, I would like that.
All right,
And I would say this, if you were to discipline the permit on this for no policy, they'll certainly show up with a policy in hand.
Mm-hmm. So move to the full board, make a motion to move to the full board.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to tab 4Z. This is complaint number 26-0136, respondent CVS number 7262, and Pooja Patel. A pharmacy improperly reconstituted an antibiotic with too much purified water and dispensed it to a patient. Open the floor for discussion.
Concerning because it included a minor or a child, so that's concerning. But it does look like it's a med error. I don't know if we want to include the permit holder since it is their system that helped cause the error. Where you have to hit the button of, do I want to reconstitute with water or just with flavor? That's what I read. But my motion would be to do 3 hours of non-disciplinary CE to the pharmacist and dismiss the permit holder.
I like that. Would you consider a friendly amendment to clarifying the CE to be pediatric pharmacy and patient specific?
Yes, I would like that amendment.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next tab is 4AA, and I am recused, so I'll hand this over to Mr. Nassif.
Thank you. So,
sorry, could I interject for a moment? This is Compliance Officer Chirag Patel. Just wanted to mention that in an effort to maintain protected health information, please refrain from discussing the identity of the ultimate user of the medication. That's all.
Thank you.
So we have item 4AA, case 26-0152 is for pharmacist who dispense medication without a valid prescription order. It's really not dispensing, like taking it for family use.
And from what I understood is they ordered it and then were not able to return the medication. So
Yeah, and then he asked somebody else he asked somebody like who purchased medication, can I take him home? Said yes, right? And then that's what he claimed, the
Yeah.
respondent, and then they took him home. There's no, it is RX, it is prescription meds. So require prescription, right? And that where we at now?
So since it involves diversion, I would like to make a motion to do 3 hours of disciplinary CE on diversion.
Actually, we go more than that. In those cases, with something more simple, we go with the, we went with the probation,
Okay.
and it is, to me, is very severe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like taking medication without prescription from pharmacists. Pharmacists should know better. So
Okay. So I rescind that motion. Let's do a disciplinary probation.
that's what I'm thinking, or we can do a conference that was in like a probation or conference to hear, but I don't think we need to
Will
have
the conference reveal
information.
any more than what we see here
No,
that
no,
that the diversion did happen regardless of misunderstanding
I
or
don't,
not?
no, I don't think so. So what kind of probation you're thinking of, or
Can you guys guide me on that? Like,
so usually we do 2 years probation, 1 or 2 years probation. And that you can include in probation of like completing CEs during probation, and we know being like we have like kind of know being a preceptor or a
oh yeah,
PIC
then,
during the probation.
and is this a pick? It doesn't say
No,
that.
no.
Okay.
It's not.
So I would say a 1 year probation and must complete the can we also add the 3 hours of
You can, I will
diversion
go with
CE?
more than 3 hours. I will go
Or
more than
6?
3 hours. I will go like, yeah, I mean, minimum 6 or 15 hours. We will go.
Okay.
I mean, this is a violation. It's really like diversion, right? So,
Yeah.
and if you like to take it to the full board for more opinion, we can do so.
There should be some law in there too, because that is absolutely
It is, yeah, it is a diversion, you know, and they're taking it from pharmacy without prescription.
Yeah. So how about we do a disciplinary probation of 1 year with 15 hours of CE, 9 on diversion, and
Law.
3 hours on law.
15, like 9 on diversion and 6 hours on law. Right?
Yeah.
Or whatever the board staff approves.
Or whatever the board
The
staff
board
feels,
approves, yeah.
yeah,
Around
is that
those
acceptable?
areas. And I will go with the 2 years if that's okay with to
Okay, I'll change it to 3 years.
2 years, and we add the same verbiage. I would like to add it is no cannot be a PIC or a preceptor during the probation.
Okay, cannot be a pick or a preceptor during the probation.
Yeah.
So I'd make that my motion if it sounded clean enough.
I second. All okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Melinda, you made a motion, so you aye, right? So,
Yeah, I said aye.
okay, so motion approved. Any comments, opposed? All right, motion approved. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Nassif. Moving on to tab 4AB. This is complaint number 25-0714. Respondent is Optum Infusion Services LLC. A pharmacy delayed a patient's medication due to non-coverage under the patient's drug plan benefit. The complainant provided a written request for full board to review the executive director's decision to take no action on the complaint.
I think we have set a precedent in the past that we should move that to the full board so they can.
I would like to differ from that. I think we said that last meeting, but it brought a lot of items to the full board that weren't necessary. So I would like to take care of it in this committee meeting. And then if the board doesn't agree, they'll pull it.
So Ms. Browning, is your motion to uphold the ED's decision to take?
Yeah, so I was going to say, although the situation's unfortunate and the patient's definitely frustrated, which makes sense, the pharmacy was actively working through the insurance coverage and the medication was not covered by the insurance. So based on the available information, it didn't appear to me that the pharmacy failed or acted or ignored the patient's needs. So I would, for those reasons, support the dismissal of the complaint.
Do we have a second? I'll second to uphold the decision to take no action. Any further discussion? And Mr. Thorwald, I'm not discounting what you said, but I think we can be more efficient in this.
Let me comment before we vote. I agree that it should be dismissed. I have no other thought than that. I still think it should go for the full board, so I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Mr. Nassif, did you?
Yeah, I mean, no, I didn't say nay or aye because I was thinking about what been said, like the complainant asked for full board review. That's correct?
So we are. So we're acting as agents of the board in this committee and then sending a recommendation to the board and the board is reviewing it.
Well, as long as it's okay, so yeah.
So I see that this is a fine pathway to address it.
Okay, so aye. Yep.
All right, and we've got 3 ayes, 1 nay, motion carries. Moving on to 4AC. This is complaint 26-0253. Respondent Jose Valdovinos. The registrant violated a non-disciplinary order for continuing education. We'll open the floor for discussion.
My thoughts, she didn't respond back to the board staff that reached out multiple times. The CPE monitor didn't show any CE completed, so it's not that she even completed it. So I would say move to hearing.
Agreed.
I second.
All right, so we've got a first and a second. Any further discussion? Do we want to offer a voluntary surrender via consent agreement too, just in case we can be a little bit more expeditious if they do respond?
Yes, I would amend to that. Yes.
Mr. Nassif, would you amend your
Yeah,
second?
I amend my second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on to tab 4AD. This is complaint 26-0088. Respondent is Sonali Rahman. The licensee may have failed to report criminal charge within 10 working days. Open the floor for discussion.
Make a motion failure to disclose for $250.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4AE, complaint number 25-0493, respondent Giannis Maximus Davids. The registrant may have failed to report a charge within 10 working days. Open the floor for discussion.
Yeah, it's failing to report. We'll move for $250 for failing to report.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4AF. This is complaint number 26-0014. Respondent Walgreen number 10879 and Deborah Martin. The pharmacy dispensed the incorrect medication formulation to a patient. We'll open the floor for discussion.
Board members, this is Beatrice Fuentes, compliance officer. Can I just interject briefly? I just want to just basically let you know that I would like to clarify the wording of second occurrence in the case summary. Second occurrence refers to the complaint statement that she received the incorrect medication formulation on 2 occasions. It is not intended to indicate a second dispensing error by the pharmacist.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So to me, it's kind of so the way provider wrote the medication versus the route, that's what caused the confusion, right? And definitely the pharmacist should have called and verify.
Correct.
But I mean, the errors start from the prescriber and the pharmacy staff or pharmacist did not catch it. I'm not giving excuse to a pharmacist, but I can see how that happened.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
The concern that I have is that there was an SOP in place that states if there is any questions, they should be contacting the doctor. And since the SIG and then the indication were not consistent,
Yeah, they don't match.
it should have raised a red flag. But just like you said, I could 100% see how this would happen. When the drug and the SIG matched, that was a
Yeah, but that's a diagnosis. So I don't know how the software, how much is visible, the diagnosis to, I mean, it is visible, but I mean, how much is it clear for pharmacists to catch eyes, right? And what do you think, Mr. Anderson, on this? Like,
Yeah, I think this is human error, our standard non-disciplinary CE, 3 hours in patient safety. This one.
yeah, I agree with you, but what I was thinking, due to the roots of the error, I was thinking leaning more to a warning letter or letter of concern to a pharmacist. It's just because I see that can happen. I'm not giving excuses here, or I'm not trying to justify it's not okay, but there is human errors from both sides, from the prescriber and that transfer to the pharmacy.
Dr. Alan Seif, can I interject for a moment?
Yeah,
This is
please.
Chirag Patel, Compliance Officer.
Yeah, please.
On board page 1565.
1565, okay.
There is an image of the prescription, and in the image, the directions say apply twice daily to rosacea, but in the diagnosis, it says acute vaginitis.
Correct.
So just want to point that out.
And the way it's written, it's just written for typical gel, right?
Yes, it's written for a typical face gel
external gel,
as opposed to a vaginal gel.
Correct. And it's maybe there's a default SIG, it just pop up. That's my guess. I don't have any more information about this. But the diagnosis, that's why like more than like pharmacy human error here.
yeah. My initial thought was letter of concern.
That's what I'm thinking to a pharmacist.
All right. I'm agreeable to that as well.
Okay.
Likewise.
So
Mr. Nassif, was that?
This is my motion, yeah. I dismiss permit holder and I move to a letter of concern for a pharmacist.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4AG. This is complaint 26-0044, respondent Walgreen number 10879, and Arena Temershunk. The pharmacy dispensed the incorrect strength of medication to the patient. We'll open the floor for discussion.
It's a human error. It's very clear the error. It's like a wrong dose, right? 600 milligram or 800 milligram. So I was thinking to dismiss permit holder and apply 3 hours of continuous education around patient safety or error prevention to a pharmacist, non-disciplinary.
When I was reading this, and maybe Ms. Fuentes can help provide some insight, it sounded like there was a he said, she said on when this occurred. It sounds like this was caught by the pharmacist during the counseling session and it was corrected and the patient never left the pharmacy. But
I didn't.
Isn't that, but then the patient submitted this complaint anyways.
yeah.
Also, I didn't go to a
I know, to me, counseling worked as intended, as the last.
It's part of the workflow, you mean?
Correct.
Is that pharmacists did their job.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, it wasn't very clear from my end, the true story. So it's a he said, she said scenario. So hence presenting this to you. And I believe there's a picture in there. Let me see if I can find a picture which
Showed they were still at the
complainant-
pharmacy.
Yeah, exactly. You can see the shelves in the background.
So did the medication end up with the patient or never left the pharmacy?
I was never very clear on that.
That's, yeah.
It was part of the he said, she said.
Yeah.
He said that it was caught during counseling. She said she went to her car, noticed it, and brought it right back in. But the picture was taken in the pharmacy, so it's hard to determine.
And the written complaint details, it says that the pharmacy dispensed IVU 800 and claimed the prescription was hard to read, took back the paperwork and medication and gave the correct med with correct dosage. So I believe the pharmacist that this was caught during the counseling session. And I think that's why we require counseling, is that last safety check.
I think it should be dismissed.
So dismissed for lack of evidence,
Yes.
or there is no, I just dismiss it, right?
Dismiss.
Yep.
I
So,
make a motion, we dismiss.
do we have a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4AH. This is complaint number 26-0188. And staff did request for this to be tabled for additional diligence in noticing and investigation. So do we have a motion to table this complaint?
I move we table the complaint.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to tab 4AI. This is complaint number 25-0701, respondent Albertson, number 197. The pharmacy administered a vaccination to a patient who subsequently experienced an adverse reaction. The complainant provided a written request for the full board to review the executive director's decision to take no action on the complaint. We'll open the floor for discussion.
Again, I would say this should be dismissed, but again, I also think it should go to the full board, so.
To me, I will take it to full board. It's not, I mean, we discussed that not only for this reason, also just to have other board members' opinion on this. I mean, I believe should be dismissed because it's part of the side effect unless other board members see it differently.
From what I read, I believe it was handled appropriately from the practice standpoint. So I would uphold the decision to dismiss the complaint.
Okay. Is that your decision, motion?
I make a motion to dismiss.
If I may, it would be to take no action because the executive director made the decision to take no action.
Okay.
So you would be upholding the executive director's decision.
Okay. I make a motion to uphold the executive director's decision.
Second, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving on to tab 4AJ. This is complaint number 26-0095. Respondent Walgreen number 3163. The pharmacy administered multiple vaccinations to a patient who subsequently experienced an adverse reaction. The complainant provided a written request for the full board to review the executive director's decision to take no action on the complaint. We'll open the floor for discussion.
Same as last one in my belief. I think it should be dismissed, but I also think it should go to the full board, so.
Browning. Mr. Nassif, any comments?
Yeah, I mean, like, I would move to uphold the director's decision.
I
Take no
second.
action.
All right, so we've got a first and a second to uphold the executive director's decision to take no action. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And that completes our agenda. And it's 3:05 and we will adjourn and we'll see everybody next week.